What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am joined by my special guest, Jose Rivera from Show One Promotion,
Chosen one
Chosen
one
Promotion.
production.
Production.
Production. Come on, man. Come on. How many you been
I try to
doing
get
this
that
now?
right, my brother. I try to get that right. But with both your names, with your both your platforms, I get them confused in my head, brother. But this is my brother, my good friend Jose Rivera, and we come today to give you an amazing show today. So tune in when as you join the stream. Please give the videos a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. I encourage you to check out my boy's channel here. And we got a lot of boxing to talk about today. But Jose, just before we get into the boxing, I want to talk about our little adventure in Puerto Rico. You were with me. We were covering the fight with Matias and Liam Parro in Puerto Rico. And we're going to be touching up on the fights with Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Tio and all that good stuff. We're going to get all into that. But before we get into that, I just wanted to share with the fans that this is the gentleman here that I was out covering the Subriel Matias fight. And he had a little situation there at the fight. Uh, Jose, when you got to the fight, to cover Subriel Matias, you locked yourself out of the car there, didn't you?
Man, adventure is not the word. It was actually more than that, but luckily I had you there to, uh, fix the situation and drove you and your wifey crazy to drive me back to where I was staying in the island. But yeah, it was actually the Wednesday media day for the Subriel Matias Liam Parro fight.
we actually we
We had
actually
a
got
we
a
had a good time. We
oh
had,
yeah,
we had good coverage for your platform and mine because I do more media on my website and social media where you do more on YouTube. I do
right.
less on YouTube.
You're
But if people want to smash that subscribe button to my channel, that's the only way we're
absolutely
going to grow on YouTube is by people supporting us. And
right.
so subscribe to the channel, Chosen One Productions.
And Jose, you work with a lot of fighters. You and your brother, which was a former world champion, you guys now are getting into a promotional business, and you actually have a stable of fighters of your own that you're promoting.
Um, let's finish our adventure and then we'll get into. But yeah,
Oh
to answer your question, Rivera Promotions Entertainment has been it's not new. It's been in business for about 5, 6 years already.
yeah, fairly new.
Um, you know, uh, we've helped up and coming fighters who are actually ranked at the moment. We'll talk about all that.
Yeah,
We manage fighters, we promote fighters. As people know, we're in Worcester, Massachusetts, where Jermaine Ortiz fights out of, and Michelle Rivera is now training here in Worcester, who has a fight coming up soon. So yeah, Rivera Promotions Entertainment. We have a show in September in Springfield for the Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend. So it's going to be quite the festivities where the boxers are going to be part of the parade and then boxing after that. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
the reason why I say that and everything is because I wanted my fans to know your background in boxing right before I continue our event and a little adventure in Puerto Rico. And I would like to everyone to know that on that day it goes to show you, when you do right by others, people will do right by you. And me and Jose were out in Puerto Rico when we're both covering. And the day of that day that he locked his keys out of his car, we actually, in fact, got some of the best coverage out of the event there. But the real coverage is when all the big wigs were at the weigh-in, and I got to the weigh-in. And in Puerto Rico, I was, I'm sincere with my fans. I'm straight up with them. I let them know that I didn't have my media credentials all in order, and that I was really just a man that had a passion for the sport. And I was heading out to Puerto Rico, and I was trying to get in where I fit in. And in that day, we were,
And you fit it in well. And you fit it in
Thank
well,
you,
boy.
brother. Thank you. And I got there, and Jose's there, and he's got all his credentials and his ducks in order. And the guy behind the counter is telling him, "No, you're not on the list." He says, "Brother, you better check that list and call someone else." So they come out and they start, taking care of all that. And here I am, I'm talking to Jose. I'm like, "Jose, man, well, let me at least give you a hand." I grabbed his camera bag and I happened to go to the back to like stay at the entrance. Jose's over there talking with the guy. Next thing I know, he's waving me on. I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, that's my camera guy. Let's go.
That's
They
that's
slap
that's
him.
that's my production guy. See,
They
the only
slap a
reason
ban on me.
so it was a blessing in disguise that
Oh, it was.
my credentials didn't show up in the security's computer, so he had to actually call Anthony Lever, who's the head of media for Matchroom Boxing. And
Yep.
of course I was on his list, so I told him, listen, so if you didn't find me, you're not going to find my production guy, but he needs to get in with me. And the
Yeah.
rest is history. We
The
covered
rest
we
was
we
history.
had a good time.
We had an amazing time. I saw a lot of fighters there. I got to move around. We met Ed Hearns. We took pictures of the Ed Hearns. We had a great time. We got to talk to Subriel Matias, his team at the time. I also saw Emmanuel Rodriguez that was
Yep.
also
Yep.
there. And there were a lot of good fighters, and I had an amazing time and an amazing event. We got to cover the fight in a way that, it was we were I had so much footage I could have like gotten, but the experience of talking with Subria's coaches and everything, actually holding the belt, it was all surreal for me. But this is why we do what we do. This is exactly why we do what we do, because of our love for the sport and our passion. And let's get into these fights last night. You know,
Real, hold on, real quick. You have someone, Koki, I guess
yeah,
he's one of your followers.
yeah,
He says he knows the Springfield area and avoids Hartford, but he's asking me if I think that Jermaine Ortiz would spar with Subriel Matias. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried to hook that up one day because I know them both well. But Jermaine will not spar a fighter that might be fighting him in the future.
yeah,
Um and you might say, the fight fans might say, well, he sparred Loma and he ended up fighting him. Well, that goes to show you, by that experience he'll never do it again.
right.
So because Loma knew, how to
Jermaine,
fight
yeah,
him
too well. Yeah, they knew
too
each other.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
So once I tried to hook up, I wanted to see some sparring sessions with Jermaine and other fighters, Subriel being one of them, because I was actually going to travel to Mexico to their camp. He says, absolutely not. I will not fight. And this is coming out of Jermaine Ortiz's mouth.
right,
I will not spar anybody that I see fighting with me in the future.
right.
So
Anybody? Yeah.
that's to answer Koki's question. But listen, let's go back real quick back to
Okay.
Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Let's go back. The fights from last night. We got plenty of time for that, but people might want to know what happened. How did I lock myself out? Well, I
Oh.
guess I was a dummy. Um, I was staying in R&B Airbnb in Orocovis. It's an hour away from Manatee, where the fights were going on.
Right.
So I turned on the car in the morning. I spoke to Edwin. I told Edwin, I'll see you over there at the venue within an hour. So I after I turn on the car in the morning, I go back into my Airbnb to get my shades. I forgot my shades, and you know me, I
Yeah.
can't go in. I feel naked without my shades.
Yeah.
But I took the car keys with me and I put them on top of the mattress. The car I rented, like other newer models, you could just push the
That's
button without the.
crazy.
As long as you have the key
The
on you, you could
key.
just push the button,
Yeah.
right? So I happened to leave, grabbed the shades, left in a hurry, left the keys on top of the mattress where I was staying. I didn't notice until I stopped at a bakery to get a coffee right before the venue, like 2 minutes before. You know, the bakery that was before,
Right.
right before
He
the
had already
venue over
drove an
there.
hour and some change.
And then I'm looking for the key. I'm looking for the key. I'm like, wait a minute. Don't tell me. I call my sister and I said, sis, tell me the keys to the car are not on top of my mattress. She opens the room and goes, yeah, you left them here. I was like, fuck. What am I going to do now? What am I
We
going to do
get
now?
I get
Because
I pull up, right? And I get out and I see this car just running. And I'm like, man, this guy left his car running here, right? It comes to find out it's Camachito's car because he has to leave it running because he doesn't want to turn it off because he doesn't have the key. So meanwhile, we're doing the press conference with his car running outside, and we're like hoping that he goes, I got a full tank of gas, it'll stay on. So we're in there, we're interviewing Liam Parro. I know this was on the back of your mind because you were saying, damn, I hope this car doesn't turn off. We come outside after we do the entire interview, everything went well, and we look, we don't hear no sound. We're going, that's kind of, and we walk closer to the car and the car's off. I was like, no, the car turned off.
yeah, the car
Camachito
turned
didn't
off.
know what he was gonna do,
But
and
let me tell you, if that car would have turned off, it's supposed to turn off. Once
yeah,
it notices that the key is not anywhere
I don't know how you drove
near,
that
I mean,
far like that.
especially after driving, a while, you figure it'll turn off. It'll remind me you don't have the keys with you. But
Right,
that car drove me all the way an hour away. And if it would have stopped on the highway in Puerto Rico, boy, that would have been trouble. So,
man, I tell you,
Edwin and his wife to the rescue brings me back and forth, back to
yeah,
Orocovi,
that was
back
a
to
4 hour
Manatee.
endeavor. That was like a 4 hour endeavor, man. It was
It
crazy.
was, it
And then
was,
I
it
had to
was.
drive an hour and 30 minutes in the opposite direction back to San Juan.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah,
And then it just goes to show you, man, that out here, we were there for each other because there were other guys that I'm not gonna mention any names neither, unless you want to, but there were people there that were also from Massachusetts that knew us, that never even
absolutely.
asked to lend you a hand. They
Right,
never even said,
right,
and they knew
right,
the
right,
situation.
right.
And then and it goes
But
to
but they called me to do them favors because they didn't have media credentials, and that's the way this business is.
you
You know,
see,
don't
yeah.
give you the props like you do. Like, I appreciate the fact that, you let people know that if you got media access to Subriel Paro, it was because I helped you out. But,
Oh, absolutely.
a lot of people won't do that. And certain person that you're talking about is one of them. But it was a good time. We covered the media day. We covered all week festivities, press conference, weigh in. You had a chat with Eddie Hearn. You seen some other celebrities and
Oh yeah.
fighters. You were out there. You were doing your thing, and you looked like a pig in shit, boy. You were having a great time. I had to actually call you a couple of times, Edwin. Don't forget to get this content.
Yeah,
Don't forget to get that
yeah,
because you
yeah,
were
yeah,
all
yeah.
excited.
Yeah,
But
nah, yeah. It was a
first
hell of
time,
experience.
the
Y-
first time is always like that. It's always
Yeah.
like that. So
And it being such a big event too. The fact that it was a world title fight, it was a big fight. It was in our, in our country, Puerto Rico, and even though the night didn't go the way we wanted it to, we still had an awesome time. It was a great experience. I believe Subriel Matias is going to be back stronger than ever. I know that this is a learning curve for him, for any boxers. And a lot of people gave him some people gave him some shit. Some people understand that boxing, you can't always hold the fighter to one night performance. A
right.
fighter has he can have a bad night in the office. I'm not
The
gonna say
best,
that.
the best of the best have lost. But I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you something real quick. You really didn't see anything because that wasn't even a third of 100% media if it was the only boxing event going on, because everybody else was at the Davis
St.
Martin's
Judas.
fight. Because
Yeah,
I guarantee you that if all the media that usually covers these boxing events was there, they would have had to do it someplace else. That place would have been too small. But
yeah.
most of the media was at the Tank Davis fight.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. But like, as far as the fight goes and stuff, I believe that Subriel Matias, Liam Parro, look, Subriel gave him an opportunity to change his life. He gave him a shot at a world title. You know what I mean? I know that there was no rematch clause put in and stipulated, and a lot of my fans have been talking about it. And I said to my fans, I said, listen, you have to look at the landscape of what's going on in the division. As far as everyone else except Richard Hitchinson, Subriel beat everybody. Okay. So when he falls in the ranking because he lost his belt, I believe he's only going to fall to either one or two. Richard Hitchinson was in front of him, got the title eliminator, and didn't want to fight. He said he wasn't ready. So when you look at it in that aspect, I can also look at it the way that Robersi Ramirez right now is trying to go after his belt with Espinoza. Espinoza made one title defense and Robert's fought twice. And he's already back knocking on the doorstep to fight him again. He got the interim last night. He's putting himself. So I tell my fans that basically, from what I think, Subriel is 2 to 3 fights away from getting another title fight. And if there's any organization in boxing that plays by the rules and the book, is the IBF. The IBF, if you're in their ranking as the world just saw Usyk get stripped. Why? See, the IBF, you got to understand that all these sanctioning bodies don't care about the other sanctioning body. They only care about their belt. The IBF works with the WBC, but the IBF only cares about the IBF. And although it's a good fight for 4 belts, right? And it looks good on paper, the IBF is saying we have a schedule. We have rank opponents in our organization, and we honor that. We don't care about your rematch with Tyson Fury. That's personal. As far as the ranking system, either you fight our guy or you got to strip or vacate. And stripping, vacating for all the people, I've talked about this. It just means they're giving you a nice way before they strip you. It's like being fired or quit from a job. What's it look like on your resume? They'll give you an opportunity for you to vacate it, for that you look like you gave the belt up before they strip you. But they were going to strip them. So when you're
I
going
had
after,
I had inside information. I told you this over there,
yeah,
and I told someone else that's from over here that was in Puerto Rico that Subriel Matias' next opponent was supposed to be Prograis. Was
yeah,
supposed to be Prograis, and I tell you that because I know of someone that wanted to that Prograis fight, and Matchroom was like, no, that's Subriel Matias' next opponent. So by him losing, who knows who he's fighting next, because you got now all these 140 pounders fighting each other. So where does that leave Subriel Matias at the moment?
I
Because
think,
now Prograis is fighting Catterall.
right.
So that's no longer in the mix
I
for
have
him.
a fight for Subriel, and I think basically it's everybody there at the 140 besides the new prospects and trying to be contenders and shit. Besides them, the person that I think he's gonna fight is Jukumbai. He's gonna rematch Jukumbai again because Jukumbai came off that good win. He put himself in position, right? And what they're gonna end up doing is, okay, Jukumbai and Subriel, you got that loss, and you got a loss to him. So you two fight, and to see who jumps up, possibly. And I think if Subriel were and Liam Parro was to remain champion, I think Subriel is gonna have to go to Australia, and I would love that. Reason why is because Liam Parro came to Puerto Rico and destroyed Subriel Matias' night. I would like to return the favor and make you feel the same way we felt. Go out to Australia and beat the brakes off that man out there and take that belt back in
Well,
front of
he's done it.
his fans.
He's done it before. He has
Oh, no, no,
avenged
no, no. I know that. I know that.
losses.
I know that.
So,
And
you know,
Supriya's gonna fight better away from home. Okay,
yeah, it was
so
too much. It was a little too
I
much.
would love,
The whole
I would
spectacle,
love for Liam
a
Parro
little too much.
to challenge Subriel Matias and let him have the fucking cojones to say, come out to Australia and fight me. And bro, listen, I told my fans yesterday, I would sign that contract in blood, right? And I would grab my manager's head and bounce his head off the table, give him a nosebleed. I said blood, not my blood. Anyway, I would sign it and I would shoot out to Australia to fight that man. Because I think that,
Somebody just messaged me from my Facebook. I'll tell you later. Yo,
okay,
is that Edwin?
yeah,
One of the
yeah,
OGs from around the area. Is that Edwin?
absolutely. You know it is in the flesh.
Absolutely.
In the
That's
flesh.
Mr.
That's what they call
That's
me in the
Mr.
streets anyway.
Montalvo doing big things.
Yeah, baby. So listen, that's all great, but let's break down what happened last night. Boxing fans want to know what you saw too. There were a lot of amazing fights going on. The Teofimo Lopez, there was a lot of great fights. A lot of Dominican fighters come up. We're going to touch up on all of that. Also, Bam Rodriguez and Estrada. Boy, I got to tell you, that was an amazing fight. I want to break down that, all that and more, because Bam's apparently calling out some of the top fighters in the world. Now, oh yeah, either
No,
way, listen, he's got a lot.
not only the top fighters, the man
The
calling
man,
out
yes.
the best pound for
And
pound.
before you get to him, let's pump our brakes. He's got a lot of work to do and a lot of killers in front of him.
Absolutely,
And we'll get
absolutely.
to that in a minute. So, look, there were a lot of Dominican fighters on this card, right? One of the fighters in particular that I wanted to talk about, I know you want to talk about some of the Dominican fighters, but one fighter in particular is the Vargas kid, El General. Now, he made short work of his opponent. I didn't get to see much of him, but I like the way they're bringing him on. Out of all the Vargas sons, I just see a focus in his eye, a level of dedication to the sport. I'm not saying that his brothers don't have it or his father or nothing like that. I just like his, and I'm not comparing him to anyone else. I'm just judging him. And him as a fighter general, man, I think he's coming along good. Like I said, I didn't get to see a lot of him, but I have, my eye on him, and I expect big things from him later in the future. Tell me, Jose, what do you think about the Dominican fighters now coming into boxing? Let's be honest. I'm gonna keep it funky right here. We don't shy away from topics here. Dominican fighters have not had a lot of champions throughout the course of boxing, and boxing is evolving right now as a sport. I love the fact that the Dominicans are venturing out, getting great training, not just staying in their island. They're getting world class training right now. Out of all the Dominican fighters you saw last night, tell me in your honest assessment, which one is the best from like best to last? Break down the fighters that you think out of them last night. Because I gotta admit to you, um Elvis didn't look that good for me.
No, he had an off night. Elvis Rodriguez had an off night last night. Whereas Polanco had a great night. There
Yes.
was also a younger Dominican by the name of Yuri. Um, what's his last name again? He's 9-0. Anyway, actually, Jermaine's uncle was in his corner last night,
Really?
so that's another Worcester connection to
Okay.
that fighter. Oh, Yuri Cedeño. He's 9-0
Okay.
as of last night. He looked good. Um, Rohan Polanco from Springfield, Mass. also looked good. Elvis Rodriguez had an off night. Those are the Dominicans that fought last night.
So you think Polanco
But
looked the best?
I'm sorry.
You think Polanco looked the best out of all the fighters last night, Dominican fighters?
Out of the ones that fought last night, but if you're asking me who are the better
Yes.
Dominican fighters, then El Bronco, who fought not too long ago, I was high on him.
Mm-hmm.
He got emailed the belt, so he was defending it.
Yeah.
The whole situation with that,
Yep.
and he also had an off night. I was high on Andrade Garcia, who lost his title. Michel Rivera is also a great fighter that's fighting July 27th.
Hector at
Um,
130 also lost his belt.
right, right.
The one that
So,
fought Tank Davis.
right. So, the best Dominican fighter at the moment
That
is not even ranked. Is not
really.
even ranked. Yeah, is not even ranked. Is a up and coming fighter that this kid. Believe me, people are gonna know his name soon. But right now, top guys right now, Bronco and Puerto, what he did the other day with Puerto be winning the
Yeah.
other day, and the way he won. Uh, Believe me, he exposed a fighter that had 100% knockout ratio in Russell. And so those are the top two fighters right now from Santo Domingo, Puello and El Bronco.
Listen, that was a boxing lesson that he taught to the Russell kid in that fight. When I watched that fight right there, and get the Russell, they are good. They are strong fighters, but they usually rely on some volume, brute strength, and forward pressure, and they try to overwhelm their opponent with their variety of punches and hard punches. And Polanco really showed that he knew how to make adjustments and weave even out of that. He taught him a real boxing lesson, and he showed why he was a former world champion. Now, speaking of
Puello, you mean? Puello.
Cuello, I'm sorry, Cuello. I'm sorry. Yeah, did I say Polanco? Sorry.
You
I
did
have a
say
habit of
Polanco,
doing
yeah.
Yeah, I have a habit of doing that. Thank you for catching me. Um, one of the things I wanted to talk about too is tell me, how do you feel about Teofimo Lopez's performance last night? And I want to quickly break down this fight against Claggett. I'll quickly give you a small assessment of what I saw. I think that Clagic showed up in this fight, and I think that Tio also showed up in this fight. I think Clagic brought the best out in Tio, and I got to give it to Clagic that he kept pressure on Tio, and it really forced Tio to show how slick he was. It was impressive to see Clagic take Tio's power the way he did. The way he took his power. I was kind of like, I didn't think that he would be able to sustain it for a long time. After he got past like the fifth round, I started to ask myself, how long can Klajic keep this up and stay in the high guard? Because he fought the fight entirely in the high guard. He was real stingy on what he gave Tio. I thought that Tio lacked the ability to recognize to go around his guard and hit his body. I think that Tio was throwing body shots, but he was throwing them from a distance. When they were in close, Klajic always had that high guard, so that shot to the liver was there all night. It was surprising to see that Tio didn't take it, but the reason I saw that is because he was giving Tio so much offense that Tio had to pay attention to that I don't think he recognized the body shots. And that was in part of what Claggett was doing in the ring to Tio. And Tio was real slick though. He had some really good punches, eye catching, but I couldn't help but notice Clagic turned Tio into Spock from Star Trek. Bro, he had him looking like Spock, bro. He was like this. I was laughing. And I when I watch the fights, I have a tendency of just turning down the volume. I don't like to listen to their commentators because sometimes they're like kind of biased, I feel, and they're not calling the same fight I'm watching, right? So I kind of don't know what they were saying at some points in the fight. But I was thinking that Kledger was doing a lot better, and I saw quickly on the unofficial scorecard how they had like Tio dominating every round. I was like, whoa! I was like, I thought Clagic did some good work. Second round, second and fourth. I think he did really good work in the second and fourth. I think Tio won the first two like that. But tell me, what did you see in that fight? What did you take away from that fight?
So all I saw was Tio tattooing Claggett all night, right? This is a fighter that he could have disposed of easily. Now
Yeah,
everybody is was complaining that because Teofimo Lopez got offered 4 fighters, and his team picked Claggett. Now why?
right.
Why? You just had a fight with Jermaine Ortiz where you were the only fighter in a winning situation that got dropped from the pound for pound list. So you're supposed to make a statement after the Jermaine Ortiz.
Oh, that's
You,
interesting.
you're absolutely you're supposed to make a statement and fight top guy. So they picked Claggett. They knew, that he was gonna beat him. And I'll tell you what, if Claggett had more power, he would have
Yeah,
done better against Teofimo.
I know he
But
was catching him.
the fact that Teofimo is talking about going up to 47 to fight Crawford or Boots or the best, if he doesn't have any power in 140, he's not going to have any power in 147. I suggest he stays there, tries to unify his title, and but don't try to go up because I don't see it going well for Teofimo. But
Li-
he did what he was supposed to do last night. He did what he was supposed to do.
Listen, I've been around a long time in the sport of boxing, and I'm smart enough to know when I can recognize a guy clout chasing. Okay, Teofimo Lopez better stay away from Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is in a different level of boxing, okay? And he's a much bigger, stronger guy. And he's been knocking out these guys. He's like on his last 10 fighters, he's like on a 10 fight knockout streak. Tio, you're going to decisions in your fights. You're going to scorecard decisions in your fight. You better, you see, that's when you can see a good fighter attach his name to a great fighter, to keep his name relevant. Okay. I don't think Tio really has. I mean, he has shown in it throughout his career. He stepped up in the big moments to fight the big fights. Not Loma nor Josh Taylor is nowhere near on Terrence Crawford's level. And that's why I can tell you, honestly, that is pure clout chasing. Teofimo Lopez better never, and he better never think that he has balls like this. If you can't finish or stop a pressure fighter like Claggett that was in front of you, he was there to be hit. If you can't put down a guy like that you better, that's why I look, there's a lot of guys in boxing that say a lot of shit. Okay. Bam Bam Rodriguez is coming off what I think is a very, very impressive win. He was tested. He was dropped in the fight. He was dropped in the fight. He gets up, complete dominance from that moment. He even got sharper. He even got sharper from the moment he got dropped. Okay. Bam, just look, and if you're doing that to that kind of man, that kind of former world champion, that what those men gain through every fight is something money can't buy. Fighting experience. They know what to do in certain situations. They know where to stand. They know where they're safe in a fight. And Bam Bam was putting the kind of pressure and throwing the kind of punches at those kind of angles that he was no longer safe in that fight. Yo, how Bam set up that body shot, it was a thing of beauty. Look, he hit him, and he sidestepped, shift, drop down, boom, body shot.
Huh.
And it was so powerful that Bam knew. It's like when you hit that home run, when you hit the ball hard, you know you got a good shot. When you hit that guy with a good stop, you know it. And he just walked around the ring, right? Quickly at the post-fight interview, the first thing media is gonna do, what they're gonna do? They're gonna say, "Hey, Bam, you think you could fight now? Oh yeah, in a way." And with a microphone in front of his face, that man had the audacity to say, "Yeah, I'll fight now." Yeah, slow down, Papa. Bam's good. I like him, but he would have to get past the 118-pound weight division, and there's 4 samurais there with 4 belts,
They're
4 killers.
They're all champions.
He's
All
got to get.
Japanese. That division has 4 Japanese champions.
Listen, you know how I see Bam Bam and Estrada inside my head? He's like in that video game where you got to go up through the different levels to get it to the boss fight, the top boss, but you got to fight like 4 smaller bosses to get up there, right? He's going to have to walk through 118 just to try to track down Naoya Inoue at 122 and get by all these killers. Because I don't think they're going to allow him
I
just to hop
think
the line.
if he wants to try something like that, I think he should start off by fighting Fulton. Steve
Ooh.
Stephen Fulton. If you want to pull that off and you want to try to go to 122, right? Or 126, you're fighting at 115 right now.
That's a
So
big
if
jump.
yeah, right,
He's
but if you want to pull that jump off,
yeah.
well, I mean, don't
Yeah.
Stephen Fulton is not a tomato can by any means. He's
No,
a great
no.
fighter. That
Mhm.
Philly kid, I actually thought when he fought the monster, he was going to give him some type of competition. I didn't
He
think
got
he was
shut
going to be,
out.
and I didn't think he was going to be destroyed
Yeah.
because he was destroyed. But Bam Bam, if you want to pull something like that and you want to jump 2 weight divisions, go after Stephen Fulton. See how you do against him, because we already know how the monster did against him. So try that first and stay away from that cave.
Yeah. I think,
Leave that monster cave alone for
yeah.
now. You are good, but you're not there yet. You're not there yet.
I think he needs to stay in his lane, just like James here says, right? Because he would have to get past Junto Nagatoni and the rest of those samurais in the 118 first. And that's a puzzle in itself. That would be a great fight. Junto Nagatoni versus Bam Bam Rodriguez right there in itself. And that would show that you can beat one of these type of guys, like one of the Japanese champions and stuff, right? But all right. So yeah. So I think that would be a good step. Going all the way up to 122, 126, that's a big stretch. And even though Stephen Kubo Fulton hasn't fought in a while, he's been in the ring with the best, Naoya Inoue. And when you're in the ring with the best, that's a real good learning experience, because leading into that fight against Stephen Kubo Fulton, Naoya Inoue, Stephen Kubo Fulton was at the mindset that he was at the best level. You have to understand he had 2 belts. He was undefeated. I know he didn't have a big punch, but he was still undefeated. And he thought that his skills would be enough to at least give the Japanese guys some trouble. And I mean, when it was a complete shutout, he didn't win a single minute, an entire straight minute of any round. He had a couple moments in the rounds, a couple sequences, but to be shut out like that, and it teaches you something as a fighter. If I've already been in the ring with the best, and you come into that fight with that weak shit, you better be on Naoya Inoue's level, because I've already seen that. I've already experienced, so I know what it takes mentally. So if you don't got that kind of skills, and Stephen Kubo Fulton has nothing to hang his head down at, right? It took the best fighter in the world to beat you.
Listen, I know we haven't heard a lot from Fulton, but Philly fighters don't, they're dogs.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
dogs. Philly fighters are dogs.
Oh
He
yeah.
will be back. He
Oh no,
will
he
be
is.
back. I mean,
He had a
by any means, people shouldn't, think that because of that loss, he's done. He will come back and he will be a champion again.
he
Fulton
had a
is
fight
that
scheduled.
good.
He had a
It's
fight
just,
scheduled on the Javante Davis fight, and it canceled because his opponent pulled out.
I know, but what I'm saying is that people are dismissing him.
Oh no,
He
they
will
are.
be he will be a champion again. I guarantee you. He just ran in to the best to ever do it in
Right
that
now in
division.
our era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That kid is nasty.
Hey, look, I tell you what, Stephen Kubo Fulton has nothing to be ashamed about. He had a fight scheduled. Naoya Inoue just shows to the world, oh, he's just doing Naoya Inoue shit. And I talk about that guy, and I don't want anyone that loves fighting and watching good fights to miss this guy's career. You don't want a fighter like this to go by and then you catch wind of him on his tail end of his career. He's already 30 years old, right? And he's going to start to venture out into America. We really want to see him, you know, uh, be more marketable out here. So, but when you look at great fighters, I got to be honest. I got to be honest. He's probably one of the best I've seen it and do it in quite some time. In this era right now, Naoya Inoue, if I ever had a kid coming up, I would definitely tell him to pay attention not only to how he fights in the ring, but how he conducts himself as a professional outside of the ring. And I think that in this sport, one of the things that our fighters and our young fighters as they're coming up, they see a lot of this, a lot of bling bling, and they think that that's what comes with boxing, and that's not what is boxing's all about. There were many fighters that knew how to balance both things, and they had an understanding that there was one part entertainment, but the one thing that you needed to focus on was your job, boxing. This man was never going to give anybody the privilege of watching him on his back. So the level of his dedication above all other fighters, see, you can get Floyd Mayweather fucked up and think that he's just this flamboyant, money passing fighter. And that can be further from the truth. Mayweather is probably one of the most dedicated fighters I've ever covered and looked into. I've never heard, coaches say Mayweather would beat you to the gym and he would be the last person to leave the gym. I mean, that's what kind of mentality he had as a fighter. And I see that in some of our young fighters like Vargas. And that's why I speak of him. I see his level of focus, dedication, him fighting 6 times and 2023. I like that. I like how Camille Moten, although he is a young fighter, I like how he looks. Abdullah Madison, although he is a young fighter, I like the way he looks. And in this day and era, I spoke about it. And I like the way that the boxing is, but today and how boxing has a bright future. There are a lot of top prospects that are coming. Xander Zion, and it looks really the future looks bright for boxing. So when we talk about a lot of these fighters and these upcoming guys and guys throwing around names and stuff like that, I get it. I get it that there's a lot of people attaching their names to other fighters. And I try to tell my boxing fans right now that some of these fighters are going to be hard to make. Some of these fighters are going to now things are getting tougher now. Yeah, in a way, the cat's out of the bag. The world knows who he is. It's getting harder for him to find opponents. And right now we're gonna have the heavyweight champion Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk running back. I wanted to get your thoughts on that a little bit, but we can finish up on the fights that happened last night. Is there any other fights last night that you liked in particular, or any fighter that you think that is coming up right now that should get some flowers? Now's your chance to give your fighter some flowers on the platform.
I told you, Rohan Polanco. I like the way
Okay.
he looked. Um, and the reason I say Rohan Polanco is because he's in a division that that's the supposedly was the boogeyman division,
Yeah.
right? I mean, some fighters are getting exposed, and some up and coming fighters are liking that. You just saw Hitchinson, the fight he had. Russell lost. So now you got these young fighters saying, yeah, you guys, thought you were the man, but here we come. And Polanco is somebody that you'll see in that division that's going to make some noise. And I just thought last night he's one more step to, accomplishing to where he wants to go.
Now,
But in that same division, let's talk about what Haney's going to do from now on. Because you got fighters that in that division that saw Teofimo's performance last night and are calling him out. And Haney is one of them. I actually saw one of your viewers ask or say that. That was already on my mind, but he said now all of a sudden Haney wants Teofimo. What do you think of that fight?
Listen, let me tell you something. There's a lot of fighters that you were touching on that some people consider that got exposed and everything like that, right? The next man up that has to prove himself right before I answer your question is Shakur Stevenson. He's the
Next
next
week?
man up.
Next
That's
week?
gonna that's gonna have to prove where his performance skill is at. Now, backing to your question about Devin Haney calling Teofimo Lopez, let me tell you something right now. This is my honest assessment. As of right now, Teofimo Lopez is the best 140-pound champion out of all the champions. He's the best one right now. Okay. Now, there's one thing about Teo. His what he says you can quickly get his antics and his father's antics tied in with what his boxing career, and you could quickly tie them in and lose, respect for Teo because of the things he says. But throughout all the things he says, if you ignore all that and you just turn down the volume, you just watch that man fight. Teo can fight. Teo can fight. Um, Teo is a smart fighter, but there's one thing about Teo I'll always say. You can fuck with Teo when it comes to this, to the mental game. He checks out sometimes. And he kind of thinks, in a sense, like, look at this guy fighting me. The audacity. He don't even know who I am. I'm Teofimo Lopez. And I think he's good, but he thinks just because he's good that these guys are supposed to fall to him when these guys are fighting him. You see? So I got to admit right now, Teo is the best. As Devin Haney goes, there's a thing between fighters and athletes alike in any sport. It's called your mind can fuck with you. There's that batter that's been hitting home runs all last year, and this year he's just striking out. And they tell him to go to a sports therapist and talk it out. I think Devin Haney needs sports therapy after that massive ass whooping Ryan Garcia. I'm not even being funny. It's just that when you come off such a big loss like that, and you were being, it's evident that Devin Haney is looking for an explanation of why he lost. He needs Ryan Garcia to come out and say, yeah, I was on a PE, to blame the PE on the performance. What Devin Haney is doing is he's shocked. He's shocked that he was dominated in such a fashion. Okay. And when that fucks with you as a fighter, you're looking for a reason why you lost rather than saying, it was me, it was my performance. I didn't show up too. Yeah, Ryan Garcia won my ass, but what was I doing? So, as a fighter, when you're soul searching for an answer that you're obviously running away from, I don't think that Devin Haney should fight Teo. I don't think it would be a good fight. I think it
So
would.
you got two guys, two of your followers saying that Liam Parro would beat Teofimo Lopez. What's your assessment on that? Because you said that he's the better champion. Liam Parro is a champion now.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that assessment, or do you still think
Okay. Let's get one thing clear first on my assessments, right? The reason why I have Teofimo Lopez as the best 140 pounder is because of his body of work only. Liam Parro is a new champion at 140. Teofimo successful title defenses. So when we're looking at as who has been at the division longer, putting in the more work, not who beat the bigger name. I don't play that at Round One Sports Talk, right? And my fans gotta know this. As far as fighting each other now, okay, Teo's the best 140 pounder, but it's possible I got Liam Parro in that fight. Liam Parro just
oh,
might beat
interesting.
Teofimo Lopez.
Wow.
I like, look, you know why? Styles make fights. Styles make fights. And just as slick as Teofimo Lopez is, yo, that's right up Liam Parro's alley. When he fought Montana Love, Montana was a real athletic type fighter, trying to be slick with him. And Liam Parro knew how to get to the target with movements. Pop, pop. And Montana Love didn't understand it. He's doing all this. It's like that dude that wants to look all good going up to the rim and throws up a brick. Right? They're so good on wanting to look good, right? But
Right,
Liam
right. Yeah.
Parro how to get to the target just right. That's how he surprised Sabria Matias. That's how I think he's gonna surprise Teofimo Lopez. Liam Parro has one punch knockout power. Liam Parro knows how to level change pretty well. Teofimo Lopez to have a great style when you let Teo be Teo, right? Obviously, when you saw he's fought him, Teo wasn't cutting the ring off properly. You can fuck with Teo's mental game, you can beat him. You can beat him. Sando Martin, when he fought Sando Martin, it was like Teo was like, yo, don't you know I'm the better boxer, the better fighter? How dare you fight me? And Sando Martin wasn't there to be bullied by Teo. And he out-bullied Teo in that fight. And that's what you saw there. You
Right,
see,
right.
had
Yeah.
Teo, had Teo grabbed his composure in the George Camboza fight, he beats George Camboza. And let's talk about that. You think that Teo can't beat Devin Haney? If Devin Haney went 24 rounds with George Camboza and never knocked him down, yeah, Teo lost to him. But let's remember, Teo dropped him in that fight. At least Teo put George down. After he had sustained all that and was trying to gather his composure from all the damage, because it was evident Teo was just trying to knock him out with one punch. He just wanted to knock out George Camboza. And that's what I mean. He didn't have the mental capacity to understand this is going to be a long night. I got to fight this
Right,
guy.
right, right.
You see, you can fuck with Teo's mental. As far as fighting, Teo's good fight. I gotta admit, he's slick. He does good framework. He moves good. His feet are not like world class, but it's good. It's good. But I think Liam Parro would shock him. I
Okay,
think Liam
okay,
Parro. Yeah,
okay.
listen. It's because styles make fights, and Liam Parro is not in. Listen, if Liam Parro went to fucking Puerto Rico against a guy, with respect, I say this, killed the man in the ring, has 5 fights, retire on the stoop, and his fucking warrior spirit was like, let's go. You think I'm scared to put that kind of warrior heart
Well,
against
now they
Teo?
whoever wants to fight him and wants that belt, got to go to Australia.
Oh no, they're gonna have to. They're gonna
They're
have
gonna
to.
have to go to the land down under.
Oh yeah, they're gonna
You
have to.
know,
But
and listen, Eddie Hearn was hoping Liam Parro won. That's why Subriel said
yeah,
what he
we
said.
know that. Yeah,
That's
with the
why
little
Subriel
wink back
said
at
what
it.
he said. I can't let it go, even though I'm in Puerto Rico. I can't let it go to the judges. That's why I asked him, are you expecting another No Matias the day that we interviewed
Right,
him?
right.
But Subriel Matias will be back and he will be a champion again. I guarantee it.
No,
He
I
will.
guarantee
Subriel
that. I
Matias,
guarantee that.
listen, he's just spending some quality time in Puerto Rico with his 2 girls and his wifey and his family. But when Subriel Matias goes back to Mexico to train, I guarantee you that whoever they
No,
put in front of him, whoever they put in
the
front of
next fighter,
him,
I feel sorry for that guy. I feel sorry for the
exactly,
next fighter they put in front of him. He's going to
absolutely,
destroy him. He's going to make
absolutely.
an example of him to let the division know, hey, I'm still here. I'm
That's
still
right.
here and I'm coming after my belt. And I'm
That's right.
coming for that belt.
That's
And
right.
I told my viewers, listen, if there was any belt in boxing you really can't play keep away with, had he had the WBC, the WBA, or the WBO, I would have been like, damn, they can play keep away with that belt. But he has the IBF. And they're a no bullshit organization. And if you make yourself the number 1 contender and the mandatory and you fill out the paperwork, guess what? You're going to get your shot. You're going
Right.
to get your shot. Okay.
Right.
So whether Ed Hearn wants to play keep away with the belt or not, I told my fans, this is Subria's career is in his hands. All he has to do is stay the course. He'll get his shot back. He'll get his shot back. Not like Espinoza and Robersi. Robersi fought last night. He was fighting against the dude, right? And I was yelling it into the screen. I was like, from the first round, I called it. I said, yo, this guy is not moving side to side. He's only going forward and backwards. I said, Robersi needs to test out his feet, his footwork, right? So the fight is going on, and I'm saying it. I'm like, I'm looking at the screen. I'm going, does anybody else see this? That this guy has no lateral movement. He has no side to side. He was just forward and backwards. As soon as Robersi went, boop, hit him with the uppercut. He tested his angles. He couldn't adjust to the punch. Boom, he caught him. I called it all the way down. I said, so Robersi is in an interesting situation where he's on the outside begging for the rematch. Subria does not have to beg for shit. All he has to do is win. And when he wins in the IBF, they'll give you your opportunity. And that's what I've been telling my fight fans.
Absolutely. They are a no bullshit organization.
They are no.
Not to take anything away from Liam Parro, because, you know, he went with a game plan. He went to Subriel Matias was in a building where nobody wanted him to win. Not one soul. You're in enemy territory. All right? You got Subriel Matias coming out.
Frontline even brought up.
You got the champion coming out with artists, making a spectacle of this, making you wait while they sing and enjoy themselves. I just think it was a little too. Panda said it himself, his trainer. He's not a fan of all these spectacles and artists, and you know he's not bought out. And you know maybe it was a little too much, but I guarantee you that it's gonna be crucial, or it's gonna be bad. Whoever the opponent is, I guess.
I'll let you know that I got everything set up for you, my man, to send it out. I got the shirt and everything. I just got to get my ass down to the post office and get it, right? But I caught where you sent me the thing, and I finally got that. So it's going to be sent out fairly shortly, guys. And thank you for everybody being in the chat. I want to send shout out to the chat family. Thank you for joining the live stream and giving your opinions. Everything that everybody, all the chat has been respectful, and everybody's been sending positive things, and we will get to all your questions. So
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Somebody said, Jose, you're coming in choppy. I don't know what he means.
It's like you're a little too close to the mic. It's like
okay.
Cracking a little.
Okay.
Lower it a little on your mic. Just lower it a little on your mic on your end.
That was Frontline. Thank you. Yeah. But let me tell you a fight that
it's still coming in choppy. Lower your volume.
How about now?
That's better. A little better. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So let me tell you a fight that
too low.
That I really don't want to see. And you know, it's sad that I have to say this because it's about a fellow Puerto Rican. But you know, we are in media, so we can't be biased. We got to say the truth. Canelo just avoided fighting Skull, and they took his date away from her. You know how he fights. Then he'll fight in September for Mexican Independence Day. So in September. Yeah, they took that day. So he's no longer fighting in September. Now, listen, that is not a fight I want to see. And if it happens, he's going to this is suicide for the kid.
And then they're gonna use Berlanga, a Puerto Rican fighter. We're gonna take a hit because they're gonna try to dress Berlanga up real nice, like if he even had a chance. Saul Canelo Alvarez is so many levels above Berlanga that he's going to get that knockout that he was trying to get, like against Jaime Munguia and all these knockouts he should have solidified. And the fact that it's going to be Inga came out strong in the first half of his career, but that's a perfect example of how the sport and the distraction of the sport. It's not even sometimes that you lose in the ring. It can be things that you do outside of the ring. Case in point, Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., what beat him definitively was what he was doing outside and how he was living. Two attached retinas. He was never the same man. You see, and Berlanga fell into that where that he started getting a little bit of notoriety, a little fame, and it shows that he wasn't dedicated in the gym. Um, you know, Berlanga being hyped up him to Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I hate when it has to be like our guy, like when there's a crime committed on TV in the news, a part of please the people don't be Puerto Rican, please. I don't know. I love my people, right? But it's like Berlanga's not gonna represent us in a way where that I would feel that the fight would be fair. I'm not in agreement with that fight. I could see why you wouldn't want to see that fight. I don't think that that would be a good fight for Saul. It's more the fans gonna back up Saul's bullshit for all the fighters, the fights he's fighting that we don't want to see. How many times in the last 5 Saul Canelo Alvarez fights did the fans actually say, yeah, we don't really want to see this fight?
Let me ask you a question, Berlanga.
Yeah.
He went with Matchroom. Tell me what Eddie Hearn has done for Berlanga
Set him up.
to help his career, right? You get dropped by Top Rank.
No, but he did step in and try to help his career and put him in some fights, but Berlanga's just not. Eddie Hearn is Top Rank dropped him. Why Floyd Mayweather passed on him? Why? Because when you go back and you ask his in his gym, the people that work with him, he's getting a bad rep of not showing up, leaving early, not coming in training like you're supposed to, coming in at 2 months out of the fight, want to start like, come on, bro. And when you get this kind of reputation inside of gyms, boxers and coaches talk and they see that he's more out partying than he is to the level of dedication. See, one of the biggest mistakes that a fighter has in this sport is when you don't have a fight scheduled, you should still be training. Your competition never takes a rest. And every time you take a break in between fights and blow up and then got to come back down, that's affecting your body. See, athletes think too highly of themselves. And what happens is they think that they could just stay in shape, but they're not sharpening their skills, where that their competition is never taking break. Great Kobe Bryant, why I trained this hard. If I've been training this hard for 5 years, guess what? I have 5 years in front of you. And I'm not going to stop or take a break for you to catch up. And that's the same thing when a fighter takes a year off. He thinks in 3 months where you're rusty at, he feels good as a fighter. He feels strong. He even feels quick, right? But he's not going to until he gets in the ring, just like Errol Spence Jr. He was so rusty, ring rust. He couldn't even judge the speed from Terrence Crawford's. He was like in shock when he got hit. He was like, was that a punch? Holy shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like the movie Ricky Bobby when he crashed. He was in the car doing 23 miles per hour and the cars were flying by him. Was that a car? And then they started, a minute, I fucked up. But now you're in the fight. You see? And that's a mistake that a lot of young fighters do now. Berlanga doesn't that level of dedication. Right now, he could be watching this live stream from his couch, I bet. It wouldn't be from a gym off his phone. I can guarantee you that. His heart is not in the sport like it needs to be. It's a shame. He showed that he's a good talent. He just hasn't got better from then. He's actually gotten worse. From the time 16 knockouts, first round knockouts, he's actually gotten worser. You see, and it's not that you can say let's chalk it to the level of his opponents. His opponents ain't got any better.
No, and that's the reason why I asked you, what have you seen since he left Top Rank? So, well, me and you are your followers over there are talking about supposedly a rumor going around that Super Matias is going to leave Panda to go train with Tito. Um, is that something you have heard, and what do you think about it?
Well, I don't think that always
I
leaving
know
your
for a
coach.
fact. I know for a fact it's a rumor,
Yeah.
but
But
I
let's just entertain it. Let's just entertain
right.
it
That's what that's exactly what
hypothetically.
I'm saying. Yeah,
Hypothetically, right?
yeah.
Okay, my with my coach and my trainer, I had to be honest with myself. Maybe we train good together, but maybe our lifestyle one another. Then I would see that on my half, I would have to leave my coach. Maybe he's doing something crazy, or he doesn't have control over me anymore. Right? I need to look up to someone. As for me, that's for me. I don't know Subriel's situation or Pandas, right? So that's what would be one for me. As far as them two go, I would say to my it's never good to leave your trainers or stuff, but you do have to be honest with yourself. You know, is this the right thing to do? It would be crazy to think I would lose Panda for Tito because even though Tito was a great world, Tito's not a coach and he doesn't have the experience Panda has. I would rather stay with my coach. But guessing here, do I need other looks? There have been situations where I saw Tank Davis and he had that one fight that he fought with that other trainer that Floyd suggested he went with. And everybody thought that Tank was leaving Calvin Ford. And it wasn't that he was. Calvin Ford was letting Tank, his fighter, get other looks and flying. They knew, Calvin, I'm coming back to you. I'm just getting another look, learning another style. I commended Tank for that because you're not just together on that night. You could train anybody to do anything, but they're on their own in the ring. So as far as those rumors, me and you know them to be not true. But yeah, I'm not always too,
And
I'm
I'm not
50
saying
50
it's
on that.
not true because I want to say it's not true because I mean I'll go into WhatsApp right now and I'll ask Tito myself. There he is. We talk all the time. Now, Subriel's fine. Subriel's still, training Manny too. Manny Rodriguez. I know he has the cutter back again.
I talked to him. He was telling me that he's gonna try to get a fight in. So when I was on the sideline at the Subriel weigh-in, I was actually talking to Manny, and we're trying to look forward to get me a fight at the end of.
That will, have all these guys in camp. Rodriguez, Subriel, El Cama, who's also one of his fighters, has a fight coming up. And when that they'll say what they have to say. But for now, it's just a little off time for the former champion in Puerto Rico spending time. You saw the same.
I mean, he fought in Puerto Rico before and everything, and the one time he lost,
And not in this stage. Not
I mean,
this was
and
much bigger than the
yeah, and
times
then he
he
had
has fought
he had
in
other
Puerto
Puerto
Rico.
Rican stars and celebrities that have bad habits that were calling him out, and I believe it was. I mean, I know he's a family man. We had a blast there. His two daughters. I said to her, "Cómo hace, papi?" She goes, "Yeah, like that,
So
right?"
she went like this.
Yeah,
I sent
yo,
it.
it was
I
it was
sent
it
him
was
the
an amazing time. It was an
I
amazing
sent him
time.
the video.
And I think that Subiel will be back stronger than ever.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I think he
Oh,
will be.
but you haven't told um your followers. And by the way, smash that like button on Edwin's
Yeah.
this morning and follow me because we're going to try to do this every Sunday morning, boxing
Oh
and
yeah,
breakfast. Good fights on Saturday, and then Sunday morning we'll talk about them.
we give the
Uh,
breakdown.
we'll let you know also our fights. Rivera probably Richard Popeye Rivera fighting on our show. Hopefully, let's see if that happens because he's with Joe LaGuardia and Star Boxing. You know how that is. But we have a good some good fights coming up for the Puerto Rican Festival. We'll tell the fans. So let's build this up. Let's build
Absolutely.
this
Hey
up.
yo, shouts out to the super chat roadways with the Cinco for your boy. Thank you for donating to the
Oh,
channel.
Cinco.
That goes back to the channel. What's up, Bam Bam? How you doing? And salute to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining in. Please smash that like button and don't forget to hit that subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And check out my man Jose Rivera at Show One Productions.
Chosen One and on the website chosen1productions.com you can read all type of articles on sports. I don't only cover they could find by that name, they could find it everywhere. Website,
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook.
All right.
The one that I don't have the followers on is on the YouTube. For the big promotional firms to give you media credentials, they don't go by your YouTube channel to have all the followers. They go by your website.
Yeah.
And they go into your website for media. It helps a lot to have a great YouTube following and social media, but they mostly look at the website. So go to chosen1productions.com and you can see what I'm talking about as I deal with the Celtics, the Red Sox, the Patriots. I'll be there for the Patriots, seeing that we got a good quarterback this year. I'm excited. So I do a lot. I do sports. Edwin does more of the boxing. I do sports.
We need one. We need one of these. Ever since Brady left, we ain't got none of these. Come on, Brady. See this one right here. I won with a guy named Tom Brady. No big deal. You guys don't gotta fact check that. You know what I mean? Would just take my word for it. Yeah, I made the block where he threw the. Yeah, that was me. So that's when I won this bad boy. Yeah. No, but we need another one.
Yeah, well, let's find out what this kid you know Sunday breakfast and briefing. That's what's up. See, so follow. The only way when if
give you all the recap on all, and perhaps on Friday nights. Friday night fights have been kicking off. This Friday night we had, who was it there? Isaac, was his name there? And he fought damn it.
I'm pro
Troy
box.
Isley. Troy
I'm pro.
Isley.
Wait a minute. Remember, we also had on Pro Box Lamont.
Yeah.
Lamont. Yeah. Roach. I think it was Lamont Roach, right?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
fought.
he fought on Pro Box this week also and
That
had a
was Friday
fabulous
night
show.
fight. And
Yeah,
and for now on, like when we start kicking off, this is our first episode, but we're gonna start breaking down all the fights, even from Friday, Saturday, recap all of those. Give our honest opinion on what we saw as boxing analysts and what we think is gonna be for the near future. Now,
wait. Now also as
oh yeah,
media, so we might come to you from Run One Sports Talk or Chosen One Production on one of the venues at one of the fights. So
we might just be going down together to cover the drum and see if we can get the Shakur, because we might just do it as a team and try to knock out two birds with one stone. We've talked about it. Damn, I kind of seem to have lost El Hilo right there. I had something. Damn it, man. There was something about boxing I was gonna say just before that. Y se me fue el hilo ahí en ese
well,
momento.
you were talking about Friday night fights and the fight. You mentioned the fighter that fought you, Lamont Roach, kicked off the weekend with some fabulous fights. During the week all the way till last night. So, I I don't know
Yeah,
which one
it'll come to me.
so,
But
okay.
speaking of which, um, Lamont Roach fought and Troy Isley fought, right? And there was a lot of good top prospects, and that's why I like to watch these Friday fights because it really lets you see the new talent that's rising out through the division and who's going to potentially be a challenge for one of the stars. I've talked about this. I believe that 2025 is going to be an amazing year for boxing. It's when all the top prospects that turn themselves into contenders are going to meet with the champions. And it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new
And with
type
the new,
situation,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I believe that Jerron Boots Ennis is going to have an amazing 2025. One of the fighters right now that he's next in line to see how he performs. I talked about it, Shakur Stevenson, because now we saw Tio, we saw Devin, we saw Ryan, we saw Subriel, we saw all these guys already went. We saw Tank. We saw Frank Martin. We saw all that. Okay. And now what we got to do is see, because as you can see, after each fight, they always ask these other boxers, what did they think about that boxer's performance? And out of all the criticism, after they fight, then they go back and ask them after either a win or a loss. So now, Shakur Stevenson had a lot to say about a lot of boxers, and now his time is up. Now we're gonna see what he does in his next performance, and time's gonna tell. This is what I had to ask you, and this was the one thing I know a lot of people still wanna. It's the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney debacle, and I touched on it. I made a few videos about it, but interesting enough, what's the last thing you heard about the Ryan Garcia? What is the last thing you heard about it? And what was going on with the New York Boxing Athletic Committee?
All right. The last thing I heard, because I get a lot of media email. They all the promoters, big promotional firms, they email blast all media with certain information. As of this Monday, there was a lot of scrutiny with the New York Athletic Commission, right? Because
Why?
supposedly there's an employee out there ratting them out, saying that Ryan Garcia gave negatives for Osterin to New York Athletic Commission.
What are you talking about? Who? Whoa! Back up.
That
Who
the
ratted on who? From where?
an employee from the MSAC, right?
From the New
I'm
York,
sorry, not Massachusetts, New
from
York
the New
Athletic
York
Commission,
Boxing Athletic Committee.
right? Is out there saying that Ryan Garcia gave negatives when it came to Osterin to them. Negative, negative, negative.
So you're saying that Ryan Garcia, someone's saying in that office, he never pissed dirty.
Right. And I posted it on my Facebook and Instagram if you didn't see it.
Bro, the entire time I've been saying that there's been a conspiracy and that this thing has been bigger than Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, and they were trying to fucking sweep it under the rug and please everyone. And I was saying all this stuff, and it's starting to come to light.
Let me tell you what Ryan Garcia said after that popped out.
Yo, you guys, you see, I told you guys there is something bigger here than Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Someone fucked up. They were about to lose their job. You got to understand, Ryan Garcia doesn't have this kind of power.
All
Devin
right.
Haney doesn't have this kind of power.
So that's what I posted this week, right? And listen, what Ryan Garcia had to say. And this was a Monday, all right? It just keeps coming out. What is done in the dark will come to light.
I read that.
Justice will be served. That's when he found out that somebody's saying from inside the New York Athletic
That's
Commission
why that lady retired.
that his urines were negative for
She
Osterin.
didn't want no part of this.
No
Yo, road
part.
rage. You know it. Yo,
No
she
part.
didn't want no part of this.
No part of it.
Yo,
Exactly.
I've been telling my fans that they're distracting with dirty or PE or calling each other cheaters. I said, you guys need to pay attention to who's handing down this sanction. And how the fuck did Ryan get out of it? Now, I'll be the first to admit it. I talked to you about this. I never saw a way out of this for Ryan. I was telling my fans he had to get suspended, but not for the way he did. I mean, that took me by. You mean to tell me anybody can test for PE and the rule that they put in place so that you don't slide out, they let him slide out and put it to something else? I thought there was something funny with that. And the only people that can do that is somebody high up in the boxing world, somebody with real power, somebody that can change shit. Ryan can't do that. Devin Haney can't do that.
Let me
And
tell
that's
you
what
what
I said.
Ryan, but let me tell you what Ryan is gonna do when he comes back is make a lot of money.
Oh, a lot of money. Can
Listen,
you say
right now
ching
he's even
ching?
he's even doing stand-up comedy. He's
I
having fun
saw
with
that.
this.
Yo, I saw that. Yo,
He's
my
having
man is out there living life, and Devin
living
Haney
life,
can't show his
living
face.
life.
And Devin Haney can't show his face. And this
It's
kid's out
crazy.
here living life.
It's
Okay?
crazy, right?
Listen. No, the other day I was kind of harsh on Devin Haney because I'm tired of them calling Ryan Garcia a cheater when you really haven't got a definitive answer. And when people plead guilty to stuff, in court systems all over the world, people are pleading guilty to stuff. And maybe it's because of different situations. Maybe you don't got the time to take off work and paying a lawyer. It would be more costly rather than pleading guilty. But that doesn't necessarily mean Ryan was guilty. He just didn't know where it came from. And he's confused as all of us. Now, when they started getting all over Ryan, I started getting a little bit on Devin Haney. And I said to myself, yo, fuck that. If you're gonna call him a cheater, you gotta call Devin Haney a cheater. Because this motherfucker's been a weight bully his entire career. And
Right,
if the
right.
California Boxing Athletic Committee is using Devin Haney as an example to show how fighters are abusing the system of weight bullying, and they're using his entire career as an example, what is that? They're not giving you a congratulation or award. They're using you to reference a cheater. They're using your career and what you did as a measuring stick of how fighters are abusing the weight class system. And they're using your career to justify why they should change it. So if you're going to call Ryan Garcia a cheater, it's ironic that it's one cheater calling another cheater cheater. You're both fucking cheaters then. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, bro, but now I always said this and I stuck this from the beginning of this whole thing. You know, I was convinced Ryan Garcia was going to get a suspension. I didn't see no way out of it.
Right.
And then when he got out of it, I was like, holy shit. I said to myself, by them letting Ryan Garcia out of it, it put more eyes on him. He questioned the New York Boxing Athletic Committee. What the fuck did they find out that they don't want the world to know? What happened? Because if they find him guilty for the PE, they got to release the reason why. They're going to have to release those test results. But if you don't find him guilty on the PE, you don't got to release those test results. You see? So they're hiding something. And this has nothing to do with Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney anymore. It's about the New York Boxing Athletic Committee saving face, because and made this whole debacle. So by exposing them, you're going to have to expose yourself. To tell me that your organization is going to be deemed what? Unworthy? Fucking these kind of titles attached to your association as a doping agency, by letting Ryan Garcia go, they don't get exposed. And I knew when they did that, didn't fucking pay them off or they don't got that kind of power.
Right. Right.
These people were protecting themselves.
Right.
They were protecting themselves and they were trying to clean up their fuck up. And when you got a Victor Contents nailing that what? He had something to do with this. In what way? Bro, it was about to be ugly. It's interesting that you're saying that a member, an employee of the New York Boxing Athletic Committee is saying, right? In fact, Ryan Garcia never tested positive for Austrian to begin.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm
This shit is
saying.
getting good. This shit is novela status, baby. Let's go. Listen,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to take that as a possibility. You know, a 50-50. You got to take that in consideration. Now, whether this stuff is true or not, you get to the equation now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
you
don't know
do.
where this is going to go. I don't know
do.
how
You
far
know,
this is going to
listen.
go.
You know what they say. You know what they say in my country.
What's up, baby?
Come on, people, smash that like button and
Smash that like button. Hey, yo, Doc,
Chosen
you heard
One
about this shit,
Productions.
Doc? Yo, think about this shit. Let me know, man. Come on, Doc, man. I know you got your ears to the street. We gotta talk. But Doc, let me know something. Is this shit? Is this what's going on right now, Doc? Get back at me. Don't you leave this motherfucking live stream without moving your motherfucking ass like motherfucking. Yo, listen, Doc. There's one of my guys inside of the thing. When I go on his platform, he comes on mine sometimes, and we
That's
chop
what's
it up
up.
just
That's
like me
what
and you.
that's listen.
And
That's what it's all about. Apoyo, support.
we've been talking about that Ryan Garcia, and we've had our discussions, boy. I tell you, and good fun always, and always with respect, you know. But I gotta tell you know, this thing has really taken many different twists and turns, and I'm just covering boxing. And I'm just giving my fight fans what I know and insight. Thank you for coming on my show and sharing that with us, and sharing information on that, because it's also going to let the viewers know ahead of time. So when they start seeing some of these things coming out, I think that maybe some heads might fly in the future. I'm not sure if what they handed down is just sketched in stone and Ryan's got to take his year. Let's see what happens. But the question was, where does Devin Haney go from here? And when you tell the world Ryan Garcia got suspended for a year, now I'm going to take a year layoff, I think that's weak. I think Devin Haney should never allow another man to dictate what you. Devin Haney should get back in the ring, fight. So when Ryan Garcia comes off that year hiatus, he's coming off a year ring rust, right? And you can go in there and stay active as a fighter. Not only active, but secure a big win. You're confident, you as a fighter, stronger. So if you're serious about considering that rematch from the guy that put hands on you like that, off that ass whooping, just because a year passed, I guarantee you that the week leading into that fight, he's not going to year. It's going to feel like it just passed. You need to get yourself, by him admitting, no, and Ryan got a year off, I'm going to take a year off. Brain out of your mouth, you're giving Ryan Garcia power over you. Devin Haney needs to show Ryan Garcia and act like self-worthy. Why? Because in the negotiation in the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney 2, guess what? Devin Haney, you don't. And watch all that shit you were talking about me at, because I'll remember that at the negotiation table. Because you need Ryan Garcia more than Ryan Garcia needs you. You see? But if Devin Haney goes in there and coming off of a win, now when he goes to relive it, that rematch, he has a belt.
Sailed. That ship has sailed on him fighting Sander Martin. You saw what they did. Check this out. Russell just fought Puerto, and now
Lost.
he'll get to and now he'll get to
He
fight him
fights the
again
winner. He fights the
for a
winner.
title. Yeah.
No, no, no. That's the WBC flexing on him to bro, we don't need you. Boxing will be just fine without you. The WBC ranking is going to move on. We'll get a champ. So much, in fact, we're going to put the fight together for your belt, and then we're gonna announce the winner already, and it's not you. Okay, fight for that belt. So I'm taking a year off. I'll fight who I want. And the WBC said, hold up. You think you're that kind of fighter? You think that that's your belt? You think that you can come to your job and I'm not working today, rather than what he in reality actually is? You're not that dude. So when he told the WBC to go fuck yourself, that I'll do what I want, they said, okay, give me my belt. Go do what you want, and let's see how much more money. And let's keep it funky. Bob Arum bought that fight for $2.4 million for Devin Haney fight Sandor Martin. And he was going to give Devin Haney anywhere upwards than 700,000, and the rest would have went to boxing. Right. So when Devin Haney comes back on his next fight, if he does, I guarantee you, he's going to make less money than that 1.6 that he should to defend his title and remain champion, rather than when he comes back, he ain't going to fight for that money, and he's going to have to build himself out. I think that Bill Haney didn't think this through, took it on the chin and said, okay, WBC, you wanna fucking kick me while I'm down? Okay, I'm down. But when you're down, you don't stay down. You get back up. You don't allow them. Listen, they gave you back the O. They suspended Ryan Garcia. What more did you want? He wanted more. Now he wanted to sue Ryan Garcia, and he wanted all the test results to come out, because he wanted vindication and an excuse of why he lost. And when they saw he didn't want to let it go, and he wanted to keep pushing it to go to court, they stripped him and fucking suspended Ryan Garcia, and made the announcement that he got for 2 supplements, not turning into supplements. It wasn't about PEs now, they're saying. Yo, these motherfuckers are legitimately trying to make this PE thing disappear right before your eyes, and walk out the back door without the New York Boxing Athletic Committee catching any shit about this. But if the PEs come out and the New York Boxing Athletic Committee has to submit their finding, meaning you got to prove to the courts how Ryan Garcia was dirty. And if the New York Boxing Athletic Committee can't prove that, they got a big lawsuit coming from Ryan Garcia for defamation of character. Ryan
I
Garcia.
guess. Hey, it's to be continued with this mess. So before I do like Ludacris and roll out, because I got it's almost noon time and I got a commitment. You could keep going. You didn't mention, and this shows to me how much you have grown. Because just a year ago you started this, and look at you. You were hyped when someone came to you and said, "I know you. I know you. You're such and such person. I've seen your show." Who was that? Who was that? Panda's father in Puerto Rico. You don't remember already? He came up to you and said,
no. Yeah.
"Come on,
I have
come
fans.
on, man."
Yeah.
That's
But
another highlight. That's another highlight for you right there, man.
yeah, I went to Target the other day, and the kid behind the counter knew who I was. So it's getting crazy now. It's getting crazy. It's getting,
Come on, man. Listen, you know,
the
you
channel's
got the
growing, baby. The channel's growing.
yeah, man.
Listen,
And you know, and let me tell you, these people are all the way down in a hole in Mexico. Because let me tell you, it's a hole in Mexico where they live and train. And the man says, "I know you." Come on, man.
Yo,
and the father, one of the best trainers.
yo, check it out, right? We're breaking up and we're losing. They're saying that we're only hearing any other word. So we'll connect this better or figure out what the problem is here going. But I want to thank everybody to tuning in today to this episode. I encourage you to check out my guest Jose Rivera at
ChosenOneProductions.com, Chosen One Productions on Facebook, Chosen One Productions on IG, and on YouTube. So you can see it right there. Chosen One Productions. Go ahead and follow me. Let's build this up because we are going to be coming on every Sunday morning to talk about the prior night's events. And me and Edwin will be going to some of these fights. So we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna make this happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's been an amazing episode. Thank you, live stream chat. And for everybody tuning in and showing your support, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the brand and lets the channel
And
grow. If you,
follow,
and
follow,
if you
follow.
haven't already, subscribe to the channel and you can follow us on our platforms, social media platforms on X, Facebook, and on YouTube as well. So, fight fans, thank you for tuning in. It's been an amazing episode. Jose, thank you for coming down, sharing all your boxing insight with us, sharing everything you know. I look forward to doing this Sunday mornings. We're going to have Boxing Brush. Join us here, Round One Sports Talk. Jose Rivera. Thank you, everybody, from the live chat. We're on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Peace.